What does it take to stand up against the greatest empire the world had ever seen? What drives a man, once a slave, once a gladiator, to defy Rome itself, with no throne to gain and no riches to steal? In a world built on submission, one man dared to say, "Freedom isn't given, it must be taken." This is the story of Spartacus, a name that still echoes through history like the clash of sword and shield. Not a king, not a noble, just a man who chose freedom. Let's begin. He was born in Thrace, near modern-day Bulgaria, a land of rugged warriors. Drafted into the Roman army, Spartacus deserted. He was captured, enslaved, and sold into the blood-soaked sands of the Gladiator arena. Here, beneath the roaring crowds of Capua, he was trained to fight and die for Roman amusement. But Spartacus didn't accept this fate. He watched, he waited, he trained, and when the time came, he rose. With just 70 men, he led the breakout from the Gladiator school. Armed with kitchen knives and stolen blades, they killed the guards, freed the prisoners, and vanished into the countryside. Rome laughed. A minor disturbance, they said. A group of runaway slaves, but they didn't understand. This wasn't just a rebellion, this was a resurrection of human dignity. Let's go deeper into the first quote. Freedom isn't given, it must be taken. In ancient Rome, freedom was reserved for the elite. Slaves had no rights, no voice, no value. Yet Spartacus believed that liberty is not a privilege. It's a birthright. He didn't wait for permission. He didn't plead with senators. He took freedom with his bare hands, one battle at a time. This is what makes him a warrior. A warrior doesn't ask, he acts. Now let me share a modern example. In 1961, Nelson Mandela, like Spartacus, was imprisoned by a powerful regime. The apartheid government of South Africa thought they could silence him. But he never stopped fighting. Even behind bars, he organized, inspired, and stood tall. Freedom wasn't given to Mandela. He endured 27 years in prison, and then took it not with violence, but with unbreakable will. That's the warrior spirit, across centuries the same fire. Here are 3 ways to apply this in your own life. Never wait for permission to live your truth. If you know what's right, act on it. Don't wait for validation. Fight for your freedom from within. That means breaking your own chains, addictions, fears, comfort zones. Lead others once you break free. Just like Spartacus didn't escape alone, your freedom can spark the liberation of others. By now, Spartacus's army had grown. Not 70 men, but 70,000. Farmers, deserters, slaves, all united by one cry, libertas, freedom. They defeated Roman legions sent to crush them again and again. Their tactics were brilliant. Ambushes in the hills, surprise raids, scorched earth strategies. Spartacus wasn't just strong, he was smart. But it wasn't just swords that fueled the rebellion, it was belief. And that brings us to the second quote. What is a life if lived in fear? Fear is what Rome used to control. Fear of the whip, fear of the cross, fear of death. But Spartacus flipped the script. He taught his men that it's better to risk everything than to live on your knees. Let me tell you a classic story. In ancient Sparta, a soldier once asked, "Why do we fight when the enemy outnumbers us?" The general replied, "Because we fight not with fear but with purpose, and that's something numbers can't defeat." Spartacus led the same way. Every man in his army chose to fight. No one was forced. They weren't just escaping slavery, they were They were conquering fear itself. Let's bring it to today. In 2022, a young Afghan woman defied the Taliban's threats and opened a school for girls in a remote village. Her life was in danger every day. But when asked why, she simply said, What is a life if lived in fear? Spartacus would have understood that. So how do we conquer fear in our own lives? Face it head on. Avoiding fear makes it grow. Staring it down makes it shrink. Do the thing you fear, even while afraid. Action dissolves fear faster than any thought ever could. Surround yourself with warriors. Just like Spartacus built a brotherhood, build a circle that lifts you above your fears. Now a quick pause. If this story of Spartacus is igniting something in you, take a moment. Like, comment, and subscribe to Conrad Warriors, because this channel is here to remind you that the fire of warriors past still burns in you today. Let's keep going. For 2 years, Spartacus's army roamed the Italian countryside, free, undefeated, unstoppable. But Rome couldn't allow it. The Senate called in Marcus Licinius Crassus, the richest man in Rome. With brutal tactics and overwhelming force, he began to corner Spartacus. Betrayed by allies, outnumbered and exhausted, Spartacus made one final stand. He could have fled, he could have lived, but instead, he chose honor. We may die, but we will die free men. That's not just a quote. That's a code, a warrior's code. In the final battle near the river Silurus, Spartacus charged into the enemy. Not for victory, but for dignity. He was cut down, but his body was never found, because his legend could never be buried. This moment echoes another tale from Jewish history. At Masada in 73 CE, nearly 1,000 Jews took refuge from the Roman army. When defeat was certain, they chose death over slavery. Their leader Eleazar said, "Let us die before becoming slaves again." It's the same warrior fire, the same vow. You may kill the body, but never the soul. Now let's go into 3 ways you can live by this code. Choose your hill to die on. Not every battle is worth it, but some principles are. Know your non-negotiables. Live with honor, not just success. In a world chasing likes and fame, chase truth. Be unshakable when everything falls apart. Like Spartacus at the end, your final moments should reflect your deepest beliefs. Now let's close with this. Spartacus didn't win in the traditional sense. He didn't build a kingdom. He didn't wear a crown. But he shook the Roman Empire. He united the oppressed, and he proved that one soul refusing to bow can inspire thousands. In many ways, Spartacus is more relevant today than ever, because in today's world the chains are different, not made of iron but fear, addiction, distraction, conformity. But the warrior code remains the same. Freedom isn't given, it must be taken. What is a life if lived in fear? We may die, but we will die free men. This is not just Spartacus's story, it's yours, if you're ready to live it. Don't forget to share, like, and subscribe, and always remember, the warrior never dies. He simply passes the fire to the next. This is Conrad Warriors.